Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, which is entitled the Summum Bonum, and we're in chapter 86, which has to do with the marriage of Subhadra with Arjuna. So let me just call it up here on my screen here. Srimad Bhagavatam 1086-1. Now, because I haven't done this over the Zoom before, do you recite the verse 3 times like usual, or?
No, you can recite one time
So I
nicely.
recite one time. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Raja Vacha Ramam Peditam Ichama Svasaram Ramakrishnayo Yato Payeme Ijayo.
Is it just me or the sound has disappeared?
It's disappeared, Prabhu.
Krishna Kripa Prabhu, Hare Krishna, please. Maybe try to use your phone or restart, re-log in. Krishna Kripa Prabhu. Janitai Prabhu, if you have Krishna Kripa Prabhu's cell phone, maybe could you try calling him? Bhava Bhakti's calling. Great, thank you. Maybe Janitai Prabhu could share some stories from London times with Krishna Kripa Prabhu. He's like Narada Muni, he travels everywhere. Any pastimes you'd like to recall? I can't hear the temple either.
So we're calling Krishna Kripa Prabhu, but he's not picking up and
Okay.
it's connected here. So oh, Jai. So
Hare Krishna, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, we're hearing these pastimes, Krishna's pastimes, and this is normal. People are inclined to hear stories about personalities, drama, interactions, and if there's no transcendental information, you know what is soap opera? Soap opera? You ever hear that term? Can anyone hear us?
Yes, Adi.
The ladies, housewives, they have these television programs called soap opera, Days of Our Life, and As the World Turns, and there's personalities and different kinds of mundane dramas and conflicts and heartbreak and all these things. If we don't hear about Krishna, we'll hear about something. The inclination is there to, because we're not alone. There are other people who have these experiences, and there's so many movies, and even in the Bible, in the Bhagavatam, there are stories in the Puranas about people, and there's a Shastra, even part of the Vedas, that describes what makes a good story. There has to be a twist, or there has to be a villain to be defeated, an evil, somebody who's misdirected. And then through this course of the story, it's untwisted, and there's a resolution. Jagannath Priyanatikam, the story of Lord Jagannath. There was a king, and he was worshiping and performing sacrifices, yagyas, and there was no deity. And he felt a longing to see the Lord and to serve the Lord and to glorify the Lord with decorations and ornaments and offerings. And so he was wondering, there were no deities. And then in an assembly, this is like an example of a story, the longing of the heart of this king to see the Lord in some form or another. And then his assembly says, does anybody know? Does anybody know? Has anybody heard about a deity of Krishna, of the Lord, a form of the Lord? And one traveler mentioned that, yes, we heard about this Subara, this pig farmer, faraway land, and he had as a deity of the Lord that he's worshiping with all kinds of offerings and opulences, and the demigods are assisting him. So he sent his high priest, had to walk hundreds and hundreds of miles to a faraway place, to the place where they heard that there was a deity. You know that story? Wonderful story. And then he was fatigued and even became quite ill while he was traveling so far. And he arrived at this remote village in the mountains where this community of pig farmers lived. And the head Shubara, the head pig farmer, he collapsed at the door of his house. And that was the person who was worshiping the deity. And the leader of the village, the Subara, he brought him in, and he instructed his daughter to take care of this poor priest from far away. As she was nursing him back to life, back to health, he understood that every night the Subara would go away somewhere secretly, and he would come back at the end of the night, and there was lots of fragrance from the incense that he was offering the Lord, and he was wondering, what is this? Where did he go? It was a secret worship. So he began to inquire from the daughter who was taking care of him. And finally she said, well, I'm not supposed to tell you, but my father, he goes and he worships the Lord. There's a form of the Lord that he goes to this remote cave in the mountains, and he's worshiping there, and demigods are assisting him. So he begged the daughter, please ask your father, I must go. The king, Indradyumna, he sent me here from so far away to find out a deity of the Lord. And so after begging and begging, finally the daughter convinced the father to take this Brahmin with him. And he knew it was going to be a secret place, so he had taken some seeds with him, and he was dropping seeds along the way so that somehow or other he could find his way back there. And certainly they did go to this place where the deity was, and there was wonderful songs by the demigods, and it was opulent fragrances offered, and prayers, and boga and decorations. And he was so moved by this, the way that the Subara was able to offer different ways of expressing his love in worshiping the Lord. And he knew, I must bring the king here, or I must get the deity and bring it back to the king. And a whole drama unfolds. He goes and he gets the king, and the king comes with his army, and they want to, like, somehow or other capture this deity so that the king can worship the deity, but the deity disappears. it's a wonder. It's just an extraordinary story, and but he is instructed that the Lord will respond to this desire, and that he will appear as the Daru Brahman. He will appear as a wooden deity, and he tells the king to go back and prepare a temple. The king goes all the way back to his kingdom, and he spends, I don't know, years and years and decades building a magnificent temple, expecting that the Lord will appear. And then he decides, well, we should worship this. We should worship this deity when he comes with everything in excellent proportion. I will go to the place of the demigods. He was such a pious king; he was able to go to the heavenly planets and invite the demigods. But the story is such a heartbreaking story. He goes to the place of the demigods and he's there for 5 minutes, and then he comes back, and 500 years have passed. And the temple that he built is covered over with sand, and they've totally forgotten his existence. All his relatives and his citizens and his faithful servants have passed away. And the person who was his head kshatriya is now the king. And he goes there and he goes, I'm King Indradyumna. Doesn't anybody know me? And they go, Indradyumna, he's been gone for centuries. You know, how could you possibly be that person? And he's completely, you know, crushed. Somehow, I wish I could remember all the details of the story, because it's just so perfect. It's the details of the story are composed according to the components of the Veda, about what would be an excellent drama. And eventually the great logs, big tree trunks, come floating in the ocean, and the king is instructed to have this particular artist carve the deities of Jagannath, Subhadra, and Lord Balaram. And it must be done in complete seclusion, so they built a workhouse. And the king is going crazy. He's already waited hundreds of years to see the deity of Krishna. And he hears the carving going on. And then at one point he hears the carving stop. And he's going completely wild. He can't wait. So even though it was forbidden, he opens up the gates of the workhouse, and there's Jagannath and Subhadra and Balaram, and they don't have they don't have hands. They're not complete in one sense. The big eyes, the beautiful deity of Jagannath. And he installs the deity and begins to worship. But so the twist was this longing to see the Lord and to be able to touch the body of the Lord and bathe the body of the Lord and decorate and dress the Lord and offer him all kinds of opulent fragrances and bhoga and song. And so there's that story of the Jagannath Priyanatikam. It's available. I'm sure you can find it online. And the devotees on the 500th appearance of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they performed this play, and it's just extraordinary. You will cry. You will. It's your heart moving to hear the longing of this king. And so similarly, like we have a propensity to hear stories, and these soap operas are a perverted reflection of that. They have all these like intrigue and people who are unfaithful to their husband, and people who are, you know, have these different. So if we don't hear the pastimes of Krishna, and it says, Srinvita Swakita Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ridyantastogbabhadmini Vidinoti Suritsatam. That by hearing this from the Bhagavatam, Supreme Lord will cleanse the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who relishes his messages. So there's an effect of this hearing. It's not just attractive and engaging and entertaining, but we are purified, and our loving devotional service to the Lord will become established in the heart as an irrevocable fact. And so this deity worship at one time was not available, but then it was introduced. And there's so many different stories of deities that appeared and devotees that were entrusted to the care for them. And the Goswamis of Vrindavan, each of them had their own particular deity of Krishna, Pranadhana He. Pranadhana He, that their worship of that form of the Lord, that particular personality, form of Krishna, was like their life's breath. They were completely absorbed and intricately involved in daily deity worship. And that is the standard that has been carried on for thousands of years in temples all over. And usually the majority just gives their life. They don't think I have a deity. They think I am giving myself. I'm giving myself to Krishna. I belong to Krishna. And they take care of the deity constantly, day after day after day. At one point here at the Bhakti Center, I was actually involved in the worship 7 days a week for 5 years. And it was like Krishna appears to you and reciprocates. What happened to Krishna Kripa? Where is he?
Hare Krishna, Hari.
Oh.
Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah, it's a great
Krishna Kripa, are
story.
you-
Thank you.
Oh, great. We have your sound back.
Yeah, you have my sound back. I'm gonna try. I installed Zoom on my phone, and I'm gonna attempt to join from the phone, in which case you might have a video of me too. Not that I'm worth looking at, but I also prefer to at least see the people. Let me just turn off the audio.
Krishna Kripa, you're such an extraordinary devotee. I want to become like you when I grow up. Are you there? Oh no, we lost him again. Oh, this is too painful.
No. I'm
He's
here.
here.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we see
Krishna
you
Kripa
too.
Prabhu.
Okay, very good. So let me just put my computer to sleep while I'm.
See you.
There he is. Krishna Kripa, would you like me to share the verse from the Bhagavatam?
Well, I started reciting the verse. I don't know how far I got in before the audio quit.
The audio cut out right after Sri Rajavaka. So right at the beginning. Right at
Oh
the
no,
beginning.
I just go through that again.
So I can share the verse on the screen for you if you would
Yeah,
like.
sure. If that's nice, if that's what you usually do. Yeah. Is there a better room that I could go in? You could give me the passcode. Okay. Do you know the code? Oh yeah, thank you. I'm gonna go to another office because 6 people use this office. And I forgot to tell them I was gonna be here. So okay, thank you. Okay, we relocated. We did the Om Namo, right? So that's done. Shiraja Vacha, Shiraja Vacha, Raman Veditam Ichama, Raman Veditam Ichama, Svasaram Ramakrishna Yo, Svasaram Ramakrishna Yo, Ho Pa Yeme Vijayo, Ho Pa Yeme Vijayo, Ya Mamasi Tamahi. So the word for bird, Sri Rajavacha, the great King Parikshit said, Brahman, O Brahmana Shukadeva, Veditum to know, Ichama, we wish, Svasaram, the sister of Ramakrishna Yo, of Balarama and Krishna, who we're just hearing about, Yata, how Upayame married Vijaya Arjuna, Ya, Shihu, Mama, Mai, Asit was, Tamahi, the grandmother. King Parikshit said, O Brahmana, we would like to learn how Arjuna married Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna's sister, who was my grandmother. Purport by the humble servants of Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Parikshit Maharaj turns now to the topic of the marriage of Krishna's sister Subhadra. In the opinion of Sridhar Swami, King Parikshit's question here follows from the previous narration, because Arjuna's winning the hand of Subhadra was just as difficult a feat as Lord Krishna's retrieving the sons of Devaki from the realm of the dead, since Lord Balaram himself opposed Subhadra's marriage to Arjuna. So, we're beginning a new chapter and a new topic, and this is something that's very dear to Parikshit himself, because it involves the marriage of his grandfather and grandmother. And Parikshit is very, very intimately connected with Krishna, because he's connected through both his grandmother and grandfather. His grandmother here we're learning is Subhadra, the sister of Krishna, and his grandfather Arjuna is the friend of Krishna and the cousin of Krishna, and is famous among devotees of Krishna. In fact, there's a verse that lists the different kinds of perfection that are attain, the ways people attain perfection: by hearing, by chanting, by remembering. And the example of becoming the friend of the Lord is Arjuna. So, and it's interesting, in this verse, the person who attained perfection by hearing, Parikshit, is mentioned, and the person who attained perfection by speaking, Shuka, is mentioned. So, in the purport, we learn this interesting detail that Balaram himself opposed Subhadra's marriage to Arjuna. So apparently, everyone else was excited about the prospect of Arjuna marrying Subhadra, but Balaram wasn't. So the reason for this was Lord Balaram. He was not only was he a Kshatriya, but he also taught the art of fighting, and in particular, he taught the art of fighting with the club, and in particular, he taught Duryodhana. And Duryodhana turned out to be his prize student. So, so he had that intimate connection with Duryodhana. Of course, Duryodhana had some serious demoniac qualities. His worst quality was his envy of the Pandavas, and his attempt to kill Bhima by poisoning him, and his attempt to burn them all in a fire. So he has serious demoniac qualities, which caused him to lose his life in the kingdom and all kinds of things. But Lord Balaram, being the personality of Godhead, appreciates even one good quality somebody may have. And he had that good quality of being a good student, and an excellent student, and being faithful student. And Lord Balaram wanted to reward him for his being such a good student at fighting with the club, by giving his sister in marriage to Duryodhana. So apparently in the Vedic social system, the elder brother played a very key role. He was, and next to the father, he was, the main person leading the family. And it's interesting that we were just hearing another story about another girl who wanted to marry a divine personality who was opposed by her elder brother, who proposed a demoniac personality. Because 2 days before the Nrsimha Chaturasi, there's Rukmini Dwadasi, the anniversary of the appearance of the first and principal queen of Lord Krishna, Rukmini Devi. So she wanted to marry Krishna, and her father was happier about her marrying Krishna. In fact, everyone in the kingdom was happy about her marrying Krishna, but because Shishupal was a friend of her elder brother, he proposed that she marry Shishupal because he was thinking that in illusion that Shishupal was greater than Krishna. So even though Bhishmaka, Rukmini's father, was happy about her marrying Krishna, because his elder brother negotiated this agreement that she married Shishupal, he was going to go along with it, and that Rukmini actually had to write a letter to Krishna proposing that Krishna kidnap her before the marriage of Shishupal took place. And that's an absolutely wonderful pastime. And so at any rate, the same thing is going on here. The elder brother is proposing someone who's not in, the bride is not inclined to marry, because he appreciates that person's good qualities. So that the whole chapter is a big intrigue how Arjuna ends up marrying Subhadra, and it will play out in the course of time. It's interesting, there is a purport, I can't remember where in the Bhagavatam, about marriages and how it's important that the bride and bridegroom be compatible, and how they would use astrology, and how that there's people who have divine charts, and there's people who have demoniac charts. And if you have two divine people getting married, then it's likely to work out. And if you have two demoniac people getting married, it's likely to work out. But if you have a divine person marrying a demoniac person, it's not going to work. So in both of these cases, the elder brother proposed a demoniac person to marry somebody who could. It's hard to imagine someone who could be more divine, than Krishna's sister. So, and of course, even though Balaram opposed the idea, Krishna was able to influence him to actually accept it ultimately. So the story has a happy ending. So this is a story that's very interesting to King Pariksha, because he's related to the two people involved, and he's very eager to hear about it, as he's been eager to hear about everything, because he's a great devotee of Krishna, and he's just so blissed out hearing all this Krishna Katha that it doesn't bother him that he's been fasting for 7 days and not drinking water and not getting sufficient rest, because he's just completely transcendently situated hearing all this wonderful katha about Krishna and all these great devotees of Krishna, known as the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I think I'll stop here, and someone, thank you, somebody out there in cyberspace found that purport about the marriages of divine personalities likely to work, and demonic personalities likely to work. and mixed matches unlikely. Actually, there are a couple cases of mixed matches where the one of the divine personality is so powerful they exert an influence on the demoniac personality, and they become more divine. The Srila Prabhupada's sister was married to someone who ate meat, and she had to cook the meat for him, and then she would clean up the kitchen with cow dung or whatever, and then cook her own offering for Krishna and have it. But after some time, her Vaishnavism was so powerful that he actually became transformed, and he actually gave up eating meat. And I was just staying with a very nice devotee lady in the Netherlands, whose husband also was a meat eater, but who also became vegetarian by the divine influence of his wife. So occasionally you have powerful divine personalities who can transform their demoniac spouse. So I wanted to stop here because I always feel cheated if there isn't any time left for questions. And this is not a verse that I, as somebody who's not a very good storyteller, can speak about for ages. So we could stop now, and if anyone has any questions, they can put them forward, and I'll try to answer them.
Hare Krishna, and thank you, Prabhu. I did put the verse, the quote from that purport in the chat there. That's Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 24, verse 15's purport. Thank
Would
you.
somebody like to read it from the chat? Because I've been talking enough. I'm happy to hear it.
The paragraph that I copied says, according to astrological calculation, a person is classified according to whether he belongs to the godly or demoniac quality. In that way, the spouse was selected. A girl of godly quality should be handed over to a boy of godly quality. A girl of demoniac quality should be handed over to a boy of demoniac quality. Then they will be happy. But if the girl is demoniac and the boy is godly, then the combination is incompatible. They cannot be happy in such a marriage. At the present moment, because boys and girls are not married according to quality and character, most marriages are unhappy, and there is divorce. Goes on, and very interesting, and resonates personally for me. So thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, probably for a lot of people out there.
I'm sure. I would like to open it up for any questions. First in the Bhakti Center audience, is there any comment or question? You can speak.
I don't know how to do it.
You're there. We can hear you, Adi.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
I was just, I heard Billy Graham talking about, Billy Graham, he's a Christian preacher.
Famous, yes.
Yeah, famous, wonderful preacher. Preached all over the world. I saw one sermon he gave at the airport in Seoul, Korea. There were 500,000 people at the class, and he preaches very strongly about surrender to God and giving yourself. But he told us that he was on a walk in the forest with his daughters, and they were like 12, 14 years old, and he said, we should pray for your husbands. Someday you'll be married, and pray to the Lord that who you want to marry, and that you might actually dedicate your life to the service of God. And they were laughing at him. We don't have husbands. And he said, yes, you probably will be married, but to put it before the Lord, not just and in the Vedic culture, many times the father will select, like you said, the older brother or the father will select, and to trust your father or your brother with that decision, not just ask them, what do you think about this guy, but have them pick out somebody for you is pretty heavy. But it's not easy to work together as a team in Krishna consciousness, but it's possible. Like you say, when you're both on the same page, it's like a three-legged race. If your legs are tied together and you try to walk and you're not going in the same direction or at the same pace, it can be very difficult. But everybody, most of the people will accept a marriage status for at least at some point. So to put it before Krishna is very intelligent, practical. And certainly Krishna will help with that.
Yeah. Yeah, Krishna, not Balaram. It's interesting. Krishna asserts himself. Can I use this for a Zoom meeting? Yeah, thank you. Because all the other options are tried. We have got so many.
I think Bhima Prabhu has his hand raised and has done for some time.
Yeah. So Krishna shows him. Okay. Yeah, I'm not expert at doing questions and
So
Zoom meetings because I never
Bhima
do it.
Prabhu, please unmute yourself and ask away. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Haribo. Sorry, just almost got knocked over here. Yes, a wonderful topic, especially for people who aren't married to talk about. I think that we should all recognize something that happens in can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, we do have generalizations, people of this quality, people of that quality, but we also have that unbelievable mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya, and Sankirtan movement that by once just hearing the holy name, your path has begun, and you meet devotees and you stop in at the temple or you read the Gita, etc. That mercy can take a demoniac quality and change its path. And thank God for that, because I only speaking of myself, but a lot of Westerners included, we were kind of brought up having absolutely zero idea of what holiness was, what virtue is, and then, of course, who God is. So, but for the grace of God, go I right down that same path that we're talking about. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, that's an important point. Well, from what you said, you reminded me of a Prabhupada Leela, where Prabhupada was speaking about how that in order to become Krishna conscious, that you had to be pious, and I have, there's that verse in the Gita, Yesham Tada Shanta Katam Papam Janam Punya Karmam Tedvana Monir Mutabajanti Mam Jurava. But those who acted piously in previous lives, in this one, and simple activities, reactions that completely destroy, they can take to devotional service with determination. So this devotee was wondering, I don't think I've done any pious activity in my life. And Srila Prabhupada said, I have created your pious activities. So by engaging everyone in chanting Hare Krishna, by engaging them in hearing Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, by giving his own transcendental darshan, he created pious activities. And we learn also this verse they talk about before the Bhagavatam class, by regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, by rendering service to the pure devotee. Practically all that's troubles in the heart is almost completely destroyed in loving service to the personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental songs becomes established as a irrevocable fact. And then the next one, as soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion, ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee becomes established in goodness and he becomes happy. So, and goodness is the divine quality. So it's definitely quite possible. And the key is we have to be so completely absorbed in a devotional service that we actually transform to the divine nature. And if we're performing mixed devotional service and we're committing offenses and different things, then we won't that intense purification won't happen, and we won't become divinely situated as soon as we otherwise would. But that's the beauty about bhakti. It's so powerful that a completely demoniac person like Jagai and Madai be transformed into a greatest saint, an eternal servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I guess we should really end. We have to end at 8 o'clock sharp for the arati there. Is that how it works?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes. Typically about 8 o'clock we take darshan of Radha Murlidhar.
Yeah.
And if you have a few moments after 8 a.m. to stay, we typically have an afterglow for any additional questions before we close the yajna.
And what time would that be?
Usually between 8 and 8:15 or 8:20 at the top end sometimes.
Okay.
If you can stay, we would love to
Yeah, I can
continue
stay.
the chat. Thank you, Prabhu. I did have a question right here before. Are we going to have darshan soon, Adi? I don't want to. Yes. Okay. I did have a question about you bring up mixed bhakti and kind of performing our sadhana with offenses, and is there really a chance for us to perform our sadhana without offenses, at least for the neophytes like myself? Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Pure divine spiritual master, the only way by which we can obtain pure devotional service. I bow down to the Lord's feet, great awe and reverence. Across the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is a perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates, and my ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. May your fame be spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter at your lotus feet.
Thank you, Jainatai. And welcome to the Afterglow, dear devotees. If anyone has any follow-up questions, I know that I snuck in my own there, but Krishna Kripa dasa, if you would spend a few moments with us, I would be very grateful. Hare Krishna. And if there are no other questions, I would love to know how we can reduce the number of offenses that we make as we progress through the days. If there's any secret there, I'd love to hear what you have to say, Prabhu. And if you could unmute, please.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, forgot this meeting was reconstituted. So I had to unmute again. Yeah, so I was saying I'm a great advocate of prayer. Actually, Adi Purusha was talking about the Christians, Gilly Graham, and they're into praying, and often sometimes if you meet them in public, they decide that you really need a lot of help if you're a Hare Krishna. So they're always willing to pray for you. So I say, you just pray that my love of God will eternally increase. So, but we can also pray, my dear Lord, I promised my guru I would follow these 4 rules and chant these 16 rounds, but sometimes I don't feel I have the strength to be able to do this or to do it nicely, or please help me. And Krishna is always willing to help the devotee. So we can always pray that we can chant more attentively. Sometimes I do Harinam every day as my service. And on a good day, I pray to the Lord, please let us chant the pure holy name so those who pass by get the supreme spiritual benefit. So we can always pray like that. And if we just the act of praying, we're putting ourselves in a very good situation. We're admitting the existence of God. We're admitting that God is merciful and inclined to reciprocate, and we're admitting that we're in an inferior position and we need help. And so many good things are already happening as soon as we open our mouth to pray. We're putting ourselves in a good position. And so that's one thing we can do. And then it's always, if we can also pray to our spiritual master or the previous acharyas. There's all these different festival days where we honor some acharya, so we can pray to the acharya whose appearance day or disappearance day it is. Please give me the strength to perform devotional service. Please help me to perform devotional service in a pure way. I mean, Srila Prabhupada considered he was blessed by Rupa Goswami to by his service at his Samadhi Mandir, to his preaching mission. So that's one thing we can do. And then if we glorify and serve the people who have the qualities that we desire, we attain those qualities. So if we associate with people who are obviously more enthusiastic and absorbed in devotional service than we are, and we serve such people and we glorify such people and we hear from such people, we will move in that direction ourselves.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for that.
One very powerful thing is one last thing is Bhaktivinoda Thakur makes the point in the Harinam Chintamani that even if we eliminate the 10 offenses, we don't eliminate inattention, we won't attain Krishna Prema. But if somehow or other we're able to force ourselves to chant the holy name attentively, that attentive chanting will become so purified that we will not commit the 10 offenses and we will attain Krishna Prema. So just that endeavor of trying to keep our mind completely focused on the holy name when doing our japa session is very, very, very powerful and kick out a lot of materialism. Actually, the loud chanting of the holy name really kicks out the influence of the modes of material nature, puts us in a very positive state.
Hare Krishna. I appreciate that very much. That even the mode of prayer is the first step in putting ourselves in our appropriate constitutional position, and then to look to the acharyas and to the devotees that we admire those qualities in order to attain them and serve those devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Does anyone else have a question for Krishna Kripa Das while we have him with us? And
hey, good morning, everybody. Hare Krishna. I just want to give my humble obeisances to everybody. Krishna Kripa and everybody. Yeah, you guys such a great examples. Great Vaishnavas. The Nadi Purusha is amazing. Krishna Kripa and everybody on this call. So thanks for inspiration. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. If there are,
I'm very happy to see people and see Adi Purusha who always has words to share with us.
Does anyone have anything else to ask or comments, reflections, wisecracks?
Well, we want to thank Krishna Kripa for telling us the secret and how we can become like him. He's absorbing himself in the holy name of Krishna. And we have to hear that again and again and again. But this one Mataji, what's her name? Radha Bhakti Mataji, she gave a class recently and she said, we have to chant our rounds like our life depends on it. I was thinking, right, yeah. You can become ho hum, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. No, Hare Krishna. I mean it. Hare Krishna, I mean it. I really want to serve you. Krishna Kripa is just so imbued with the holy name. It just exudes joyful enthusiasm.
He's amazing. You're both amazing. Krishna Kripa and Adi Purusha.
Hare Krishna. Well, glories to Prabhupada.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Adi.
When they said, they said to Prabhupada, you opened so many temples, you printed so many books, you made so many disciples. And he said, if you want to say what I've done, you should say that I simply repeated what I heard from my spiritual master. These basic things. There's this guy, what's his name? He was with the coach for the Green Bay Packers, and they won the Super Bowl, Vince Lombardi. And after he won the Super Bowl, he had a meeting the next day. And he said, okay, gentlemen, I stick to the basics. This is a football. He's going to start with the very basic principle, this is a football. So we stick to the holy name and the regulative principles and taking shelter of the Devotees Association. And we become like who we associate with. If we associate with second class, we become third class. We really aspire for that quality of association. Then Krishna will give us that, and we can become like the irons put in the fire becomes like the fire. Well, glory to Prabhupada.
Have a great day, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for that. And as we deeply reflect on that sincerity that Adi Purusha spoke about, and as we attempt to become more godly and avoid these 10 offenses to the best of our capabilities on a daily basis. Thank you for the guidance and the knowledge that you shared with us today. With that, if there are no further questions, I would like to invite Donna Kelly to say Hare Krishna and close out our yajna for this morning.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Well, I hope everyone has a beautiful day. Remember to reflect on that sincerity in our practice and share it with others. Hare Krishna.
Well, glories to Prabhupada.
All glories, Prabhupada. Thank you, Krishna Kripa Das.
You're welcome. I'll try to avoid the technical difficulties on my next meeting, which I've heard is the 26th or Memorial Day.
Difficulties come with Kali Yuga, but we will overcome.
Okay.